Hello everyone, today we'll be taking an in-depth look at Volunteer the Ascension. I'm Brandon Hunt, voice director, voice actor, and one of the story leads over at CMD Studios. And I'll be your guide as we go behind the scenes to look at our game's development progress. Let's get started. The player begins by being dropped into this nightmarish dream state, seemingly trapped in a cavern as a monster. However, they'll soon discover this monster is our main character, Hira, and this form is one of his special abilities he's able to unlock in the game. We call this form Overgrowth, or OG for short, and we'll reference it as we go throughout the walkthrough. Now, the tutorial level is still to come, but we opted to give the player simple UI instructions here to help with grasping the basic movements. You'll also find in this level and throughout our game, we make use of a variety of puzzles and trials to unlock new paths, abilities, and even special items. For this puzzle in particular, you'll notice once you defeat this group of enemies, the barrier will fade, allowing you to smash the crystal and unlock this new path. You might also see that while Hira or OG is attacking, he is building up a charge. Eventually, once enough charge is acquired, you'll be able to unleash a powerful AoE attack. This skill is unique to OG, but is just part of one of the unique skill trees Hira will have access to in the game. This state is more of a power form for Hira. You don't take damage and you can deal devastating attacks, but it only lasts for a short amount of time. You only can transform once enough mana has been acquired. The more mana you have built up, the longer you can stay in the form, up to a certain amount. OG is useful in many different situations, and we feel this balance allows the player to find moments that work for them in their gameplay styles. This room is a unique look at some of the bigger challenges to come. You'll notice the team really wanted to increase the intimidation factor here, and worked hard to find the right sizing and scale to achieve that. We wanted to showcase that, sure, this may not be a boss yet, but these sorts of enemies are waiting for you as your journey progresses. Another unique feature is our maps are completely interactable. Items can be broken, environments can be changed, and even enemies can be affected by these changes. Okay, so in this fight with one of our enemies, the Magi, you'll quickly notice enemies have vastly different attack styles. And this shows how if you don't adjust yours, you might not make it in Rauha. This is why we created a variety of different unlockable skill trees, so the player can have the utility to craft their own unique playstyles to overcome any enemies on their journey. Also, you'll notice in this scene, the team worked hard to capture the same animation and styles from play to ease the transition between cutscenes and gameplay. Now, don't worry, the story will explain how this seemingly young boy can rage into such a huge beast, but for now, without spoiling too much, Hira's past is a mystery to most, even him, but few have learned the truth about where he came from. One of those beings is Runa, the goddess of time and eventual mentor to our hero. The other is Hira's mother. She adopted Hira when she discovered him as an infant left in the Godspire ruins, an old temple to the gods, and soon started seeing his power. Ever since then, she devoted her life to learning the truth about what happened to the gods and what it means for her boy. One feature the team is really proud of is incorporating JRPG elements into this style of play. You'll notice in most Metroidvanias, towns aren't as interactable as the rest of the levels. Our team really wanted to branch away from that, and make the towns in Volunteer the Ascension just as unique and interactable as our levels, full of NPCs, items, and hidden locations for you to discover. So here we see our first glimpse of currency or spendable items in the game. These are called Fated Points, and they can be used to upgrade Hira's abilities and unlock new ones. You can earn more Fated Points by completing rare hunts or completing quests given to you by your companions, the Fated Bonds. These companions can be found throughout all 26 of our unique biomes, and each come with their own special abilities to aid you in your journey. But we'll talk about them a little bit later. The main objective in this level is to acquire a hunting contract to enter the forest. Hira's dream at this time is to become a great hunter like his brother Raven, so the two set off to complete Hira's first hunt and welcome him into the guild. Since this is a core feature and unique to Volunteer, we wanted to incorporate this early to allow the players to get comfortable with this process. Here we have the training forest Raven has put together for Hira. It's filled with basic enemies and interactable objects for the player to get their bearings. We also wanted to include a few Souls-like features, such as these save points or campfires for the player to rest and create a checkpoint. Another cool feature the player has access to as Hira early on is the backstep and the backstep counter. This is a unique way to avoid damage and deal a massive hit pretty early on. We feel this gives players options in combat when they're just starting out, and it helps them get used to triggering timed moves and combos. Also, our levels are filled with breakable barriers to allow shortcuts as you progress further, or in case you need to backtrack. Okay, so here we have one of our first major boss battles. And in these fights, we showcase all the triggers and cues a monster or boss might have to help you avoid falling in battle. Because upon reset, all bosses respawn with full health and the battle recommences. And there are over 150 different enemies spread throughout all 26 of our biomes. So it might be in your favor to learn how to avoid or recognize these attacks early on. Luckily, to aid in this, there's also the effect called the Endure Break, or a way to stun your bosses. Each boss has an Endure meter, and if you're able to whittle that down, it allows you to stun the boss for a few moments to get those extra attacks in. Because we all know sometimes it comes down to just that one extra hit. Speaking of hits, as you fight, make sure you're paying attention to the color of your attacks. Blue means a normal attack, while yellow means a critical hit. Some enemies even have positional weaknesses. They might be armored in the front, but weak in the back. Make sure you make a note of these as you traverse throughout Ra'oa. As you explore, you'll find Ra'oa is filled with secrets and treasures just waiting to be discovered. But it won't be easy. You'll have to work for it if you wish to find them all. Some are locked behind puzzles, while others are only achieved through minigames. Just make sure you leave no cavern unchecked, because you never know what you might find. Could be treasure or trouble. Now, Ra'oa isn't just filled with enemies. Like mentioned before, you'll discover new friends and companions to aid you in your journey. These allies are called the Fated Bonds. From a bard to a chef to a blacksmith, each bond is unique in their storylines, characteristics, and abilities. To recruit them, each of these allies requires your help in completing a quest. And once completed, they will join your party and aid you in your journey through a variety of different skills, buffs, and debuffs that you can utilize in your own creative ways. But not every buff has to deal with combat. One in particular that is essential early on is unlocking the Watchtowers. This can be achieved by helping the mapmakers Zazran, Durin, Pimorin, Korin, and Sendrin. These 5 Fated Bonds allow you access to their towers, which in turn will fill out your map with more detail in the surrounding areas around the towers. The more towers you unlock, the more of your map you can uncover. Here is one of the ways to earn the previously mentioned Fated Points, the Contract Board. At any guild board, you can accept a hunting contract that will award you points based upon completion. Each contract rewards points based on difficulty. The more points, the harder the monster. These hunts can be pretty difficult, which is why we recommend to bring your friends along. Each Fated Bond has a unique ability that can mix and match with others so you can find the perfect combo to combat any enemy. Now, you'll also find some monsters even suffer from elemental weaknesses. So Bjorn's fire attack, for example, can really pack a punch against the Shroom Lord. Or, if you have Ephemer with you, his ability to expose a creature's weakness can give you the perfect opening to make quick work of any monster. Each bond can be switched at any time upon returning to your homestead, so make sure to play around with different combinations to find which ones work for you. Now, it may take some time to practice all the different hit combos, such as the upswing and the mid-dash swing, the backstep counter, and the 3-hit counter, or all the different skill trees such as Ascension abilities, hunter skills, and so on, or all the 22 different combinations of the Fated Bonds. But believe us when we say, you'll have no shortage of enemies to practice on. Also, it's not just the enemies you have to watch out for. Each one of our 26 unique biomes has environmental hazards that can cause a variety of effects, such as these blue flowers, which will slow you down. Or there's even traps laid by bandits and thieves, making combat or traversing the environment difficult should you encounter them. There is something around every corner, under every rock, or behind every door in Ra'oa just waiting to be discovered. From over 150 different enemies throughout our 26 interactable biomes, 22 fated bonds with their own unique abilities, storylines, and quests, different combat and skill trees to unlock, monster hunts and minigames, plus much, much more. We hope you enjoyed this behind-the-scenes look at the development progress of Volunteer the Ascension, and we can't wait for you to experience Ra'oa for yourself.